Hi everyone, hi Thames, hi Niall, welcome to Maths on Tuesday. Now yesterday Mr Turner talked about clocks, and I wonder if you remember that this type of clock is called an analogue clock, as opposed to a digital clock you might see on an oven or on a phone or somewhere else. And you talked about the shape of the clock. Can you remember that it is a round or circular shape? And we noticed that there were numbers on the clock. If I turn it away, can you remember what number's at the top? Number 12. So the numbers start at 1, they go all the way around the clock, so we call it a clockwise direction, all the way up to the top with number 12. And of course, in the middle, there are two hands which tell us what time the clock is saying. So today we're going to have a go at making our own clocks, and then we're going to use them later in the week. So you can make clocks any way you like, whichever creative way you would like to do it. Some of the suggestions, this is one we made earlier, just using Play-Doh. So rolled out some Play-Doh into a fairly circular shape. Woo! And then, obviously I need to stick these down a bit firmer. Just some other Play-Doh to make the hands. And you can, if you want to, make little Play-Doh numbers. I've got as far as number 6 at the bottom. This one needs to be finished off. So that's one idea. But in the pack that you should have, you will have a piece of paper that looks like this. So we've got the clock face and two hands and the instructions of how to make your clock. So the first thing we need to do is cut out the circle to make the clock face. So I've got on it's slightly firmer paper than paper. It's kind of a card. So I am just going to start cutting round. And children, I think you're pretty good at cutting. It's good to have a bit of practice, so try and do the cutting yourself. I think you might need a grown-up to help you later on once we've done the cutting. If you're finding cutting a bit tricky still, remember to try and keep the scissors and move them up and down and move the paper rather than moving the scissors. It helps a lot. So you can take your time with this. I've cut out my circular clock face, and I've also cut out my big blue hand and my red one too. If you've got some cardboard at home, it might be a good idea to stick the paper onto some cardboard just to make it a bit firmer, because we will be using these clocks a lot this week. You don't even need to use this at all. You could just, I drew around a plate and then cut that out. That's a really good sturdy way of making a clock. And then just cut out some rectangle shapes to use for hands as well. You could try that. Now this bit is the slightly trickier bit, because you need to stick the hands onto your clock. And ideally they need to be able to move as well. Now I have got, if you can see that, it's quite small, it's called a split pin, but I know I wouldn't have any of those at home, so you might not. You could also use just any kind of strong bit of wood. I've got, this is a cocktail stick, you could just use a lollipop stick, something that will go through and hold the pieces in place. So this is one hand, just something that will go through and allow the hands of the clock to move. Now I am not the best at this, so you might need a grown-up to help you. Helpfully there's a little black hole, a little black circle where you know where to make the hole. So you stick the first piece of the split pin through, and then the second, this is where it gets a bit tricky, so don't rush, and you have to push them through the clock. Do you know what I think I need? I can see a pen over here, so I'm going to make a little hole first with a pen in the middle of the clock, and I think that will help the split pin to go through. So it goes through like that, and then it opens out at the back. Okay, so I'm lucky I have a split pin in school. If you don't, see if you can work out what works for you, and let us know if you have any really good ideas and we can share them with the other children too. So I've got my circular clock, I've got 2 rectangular with arrows on the top bits of hands. Now I need something else before my clock is finished. Yeah, I need to add those numbers in, don't I? So, with my pen, let's get this clock back in case we need it to help us. The number at the top, number 12. So I'm going to put that in first. 12. Now I hope you can see this. My numbers are going to be quite small, but you can check yours with a grown-up and make sure that you're writing them correctly at home. So after I've got my top one in, I'm going to start with number 1 and go round the clock. So I'm going to lean on this to help me. As I'm doing it, maybe you can write the numbers in the air like we do at school sometimes, just so you can practice writing them. Okay, so number 1, straight down. Number 2, how are we going with number 2? Did you do yours the right way? I'm just going to check with Mr. Turner who's filming this. Can you see the numbers as I'm writing them?
I can. No, I can see them. And I also noticed, Miss Knight, you're doing something very sensible, which is once you've written your number 12, you hold the clock face still so that the numbers are always easy to read when you're looking at the number 12. You don't turn the clock face round and write the numbers in that way, do you? Because that's then quite tricky to read them.
It is, yeah, definitely easier if you can keep the clock in one direction. Otherwise it does get confusing. Thank you. So 1, 2, number 3. Can you draw number 3 in the air? There we go. 4. Number 5. Like this. Oh, and now I'm at the bottom of my clock. So 12 at the top, at the bottom, after number 5 comes 6. Okay, now 7, 8. It's nice and easy once you get going, isn't it? So now we're over this side, number 9. Got 2 numbers left. After 9 comes 10. Can you draw that in the air? I hope you got number 1 first, then the 0. Really important. And number 11. Nice and easy, 2 1s together. So, hopefully when you have a go at home, you'll end up with something like this. Any kind of circle, make sure you've got your numbers looking really good. Make sure you've got some hands that you can move around. And tomorrow, we're going to have a look at actually using our clocks to tell the time. So you can have a bit of practice with them today and make sure they work. Okay, good luck, and show us, send us any pictures that you have made of your clocks, because we'd love to see how you made them.